All right. Well, welcome everyone to our Michigan Note Investor Forum for November 9th of 2020. Thank you all for coming and joining in. Today we have an exciting um, presenter, Gail Villanueva. She is someone that we know quite well and we're good friends, but she's also a mentor to us. So um, after the presentation, we'll also talk about our next topic as well. But Gail, would you like to go ahead and introduce yourself and start your presentation?
Okay, well, thank you, Phil and Mel, and hello, Michigan. I'm so excited to be here from the panhandle of, I'm actually in the panhandle of Florida. I was in Central Florida and recently relocated to a hurricane-ravaged area. That's a whole different webinar on why I did that. But anyhow, I'm so excited to come and present something that's close, near and dear to my heart. And it's so near and dear to my heart, I actually wrote a book on it. So this is about my book, but the topic is real estate, what's your best fit? And what I hope to achieve is discuss with you the 5 proven careers to create massive wealth and how you can achieve financial freedom. And that's a tall order. And when I got into real estate and I'd worked these careers, I said, man, I wish there was a book that you could go to get a blueprint or a map to figure out exactly, what would be a good way to go and what would be a good fit. But one thing I discovered over the years that I've been in real estate, and it's been a few years, is and with any career, you got to take into consideration your personality type. Now, I'm not a PhD in psychology. I'm not anything like that. I am a retired rocket scientist, but I've worked with a lot of different diverse people, as we all have. And you can see for yourself how if someone loves it and they're passionate about it, excited about it, they're going to excel. They're going to do well. They're never going to give up. But if they're dragging every day when they go to work, they're not going to give it their all, and they're certainly not going to be excited about it. So I wanted to kind of pull back the cover a little bit, if I can, again with the lens of the world according to Gail, to say, what is it really like to work in these careers? What's the pros, the cons, the personality types that are necessary to be successful? Because although real estate, when you say real estate, it encompasses so much. It encompasses being a real estate agent, all the way up to be a commercial broker. You can manage properties, all kind of stuff. But again, I'm going to talk about the 5 I've worked because, it's experience. So let's just jump right in because I know y'all are excited about this. I know I am. So what's this all about? Real estate is an excellent vehicle to wealth. If you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. So think about that. I mean, like I said, if you got passion and joy and excitement, you're going to love it, and it's not going to feel like work as you would think work, but it's just something to think about. And everyone can be successful in real estate. Everyone, whether they've got a full-time job. I work with doctors. I have some investors that are doctors, and they don't want to mess with learning about real estate or investments or anything along those lines. They just want to go ahead and invest. So they're successful. My investors are successful. So everybody can be successful, whether they're an agent starting out or, whatever they'd like to do. So we'll get further into this as we go along. The one thing that everybody always wants to know, why should I care? So why are you sitting here giving me the honor of coming into your living rooms and offices or wherever you are tonight? Why? Okay. Because what I would like to do is you can learn from some of my mistakes. Okay. I've already paid those dues. I've paid the tuitions, the dues, the seminar costs, all of that. A lot of it has been success, very worthwhile. A lot of it has, but others I just kind of assume they fall out. I just never paid for it. I mean, we've all done that, right? So I've also been lucky through hard work. And I worked in all 5, as I've mentioned. But there is a hard work and tenacity that goes along with all of this, you know? So keep that in mind. And you're going to discover what it's really like on a day-to-day basis, the pros and cons of the main 5 careers, as I mentioned. Again, this is at least according to Gail. So keep that. These lenses are Gail's eyes on what I'm presenting to you tonight. So it's like job shadowing before you get started. Okay. I mentioned I was a retired rocket scientist, right? This is one of my favorite pictures. This is Discovery while she was on orbit. I just put it in there because it's cool. But I have my disclaimer that says this presentation is intended to provide you information. Gosh, my screen got messed up. But basically, my goal here is to give you some guidance and information. I'm not offering securities or investments or anything like that. But it is provided with the understanding that you should not rely on the information in this presentation for rendering any legal or accounting or investing advice. If legal, tax, or investment advice or other expertise is required, the services of a competent professional should be sought. The strategies contained herein in this presentation may not be suitable for your situation, and the results may vary. I'm not responsible for any of your losses. Now, I did not stay at a Holiday Express last night, so I'm just doing the best I can here. Again, I'm not an educator. I want to help you succeed. Oh, let me back up a second. Again, you can tell I'm proud about my NASA career a little bit, but it gave me project management skills for doing rehabs. I learned accounting, budgeting, communication, working with contractors. See how everything you do can be pulled into something? In fact, when we were doing our rehabs, I actually did a statement of work, an invitation for bid. I would put a lockbox on the rehab, put the bids on the table or the counter in the kitchen, painter, electrician, roofer, whatever it was. They'd pick up their bid, because I usually had about 2 or 3 I like to work with based on their schedules, and they would come and give me a bid, but they all had the same thing. I learned that from NASA, and trust me, it came in, and I don't want to talk about the different things, but I'm just giving you an idea how you may think something totally stupid of why did I paint houses that summer? Well, you know now what it's like to do a paint job in a rehab or your own renovation for your own house, so you know what it takes. But anyhow, this picture, I'm up on the vehicle assembly building, 525 feet tall, looking over the stanchion of the service structure that was going to be put out to Pad B to support the next program. But anyhow, we all succeeded out there because everybody wanted everybody to succeed. Contrary to what y'all may hear and think, this is not a cutthroat business. There's a lot. You come to it with an idea of abundance rather than scarcity, you'd be surprised. And you also have to understand that we're all here to help each other so much because we all care. We want to succeed. For example, I'm a note investor. I mean, I do investments, you know, brick and mortar now that I'm up here in the Panhandle, but Phil and Mel and I have known each other for years now, and we're note investors, and we help each other. My buy criteria is not the same as their buy criteria. We don't work in the same states, obviously, and you know, sometimes we do, but there's so many assets coming. It's just, there's a lot out there. Please, I encourage all of you to look at it as a, you know, and especially now that, like, if you're a non-performing note person, you're getting ready to get Christmas. Okay. You know, I'm not going to get into the political aspects of it, but I have been watching what the financial and they're going to be releasing a lot. There's a lot out there. Trust me, tons of business. But the main thing is, I want to help you to find out what interests you. I want to help you increase your wealth through real estate. And I want to help you challenge yourself to reach for the stars and settle for nothing less than the moon. Now, I used to tell my kids that, but you can see and you can attest. I helped to support 99 shuttle missions, an Ares mission, and I have no idea how many satellites, because we challenged ourselves, we encouraged each other. It's a great thing, but I want you guys to understand I do care, and it's a cool picture. So, okay, I have some gifts for you, and we're going to figure out how we can do this, but it will happen. And I'm in the process of working with my webmaster to change a few things. So whether we get it to you today, tonight, tomorrow, whenever.
So Gail,
yeah.
Gail, listen to this.
Uh-huh.
Hey, listen. I had it working.
I hope you don't hear the dogs next door barking.
I think because you're talking. Anyways, I opened the gift that you had for me to send and share, and it is working. It is working. So why don't you go ahead and tell them about this this little audio gift that you have for them?
Okay. As I mentioned, Mel's holding up my book. Thank you, Mel. I was a dum-dum. I'm going to tell you that right now. I said, I wrote my book. I was so excited about my book. And I said, okay, I want to record my own audiobook. How hard can it be? It didn't take me long to read. It's not, I mean, it's not an encyclopedia. It's a great book, but it's not 196 pages. Oh my goodness. Unless you do that kind of work, I don't recommend ever doing your own audio book. But I have the foreword from that book as a clip, and I offer it to y'all. That just kind of gives you an idea of what the book's all about and delves into more about that. Now, if you're looking for a technical book on real estate, this ain't it. There's plenty of them out there. This is more about you. It's all kind of like touchy-feely. But we'll give you the foreword. We're going to give you a 20-question quiz that Mel will talk about a little bit.
We'll do this at the end. We'll do this at the end a little bit.
Okay, cool. And it's available to you because you're part of this Michigan meetup, which I now love. I hope to be an honorary member of it. So it's available whether you stay with my presentation or not, you know, so.
You know what, Gail, I just got to tell you, I love also the 75 days, the first 70 days or something that you did in the back.
Yeah, 75 days.
Day by day challenge. And I thought this was really good.
Thank you.
There's a lot of stuff here.
And I appreciate that pitch, Mel, and I really did. And the only reason I came up with such a weird number is because I couldn't think of any more. I was like, I can't cut it at 50. I got to keep going. And then it was like 75. No, wait, I got a couple more I want to add, you know? So that's why it's such a silly, that's the backstory on how I came up with that one. But anyhow, this is me, retired from NASA, as I mentioned, 26-year career. I've been a real estate investor since 1979. I got to update that number. It's a little bit more than $400 million in closed sales in my entire career. I've been a EXP realty agent since 2016, and I've been licensed since '84. And I manage 3 family-owned and operated real estate companies. And there's the quiz. Nobody came here tonight to take a test, did you? But you're about to get 6. Now, this is an idea of what I'm talking about. Again, not psychological, you know, psychologists could blow this out of the water or whatever, but it's just kind of a 40,000 foot view. Okay. Do you like working with numbers? Okay, great. Commercial real estate agents and rehabbers for sure. Tight deadlines. You know, if you're kind of laid back and want to be a, you know, beach laid back agent, don't be a wholesaler or a note investor. Mel and Phil can attest to that. When you're wholesaling notes, boy, you got to, you know, and if you're not excited and you're okay with working in that type of environment, it's going to be tough for you. I've known wholesalers that had 2 phones glued to their ears, and you know, there's a saying in the business: when business is good, you can't afford to take off, and when business is bad, you can't afford to take off. So there you are. You know, it's just so much, you know. And if you like that and you're okay with that, and that just get, you know, you're an adrenaline junkie, okay, you'll do good. Trust me, you'll do good. Are you interested in building wealth over time? A lot of us are. Well, buy and hold investors and note investors, but also brick and mortar investors, because I have to quantify that a little further too. Brick and mortar can build wealth over time for sure. Buy and hold investors and note investors know what they're going into. There's no surprises. Kind of boring. You got the same rate, same term, same principal balance, same monthly payments. Nothing changes. You can't modify a note after they've had it for a little while and go, wait a minute, I want to go on that trip. So I have to like call my note guy on ABC 123 Main Street and say, hey, I got to raise you can't do that. So you know what you're going to have. With real estate brick and mortar investing, on average, and I had a conversation with my stockbroker because I'm crazy. I still have money in the stocks. He said, well, the stocks outperform real estate over and over. So I showed him this cool little chart and said, not really, because I'm like Phil, a left brain all the way. Show me the data, show me the information, talk to me, show you what you got. Otherwise, it's just air talk. So real estate over time has been proven to do pretty darn well. I would rather, and this is again, the world according to Gail, I would rather have some kind of control a little bit over my investments as much as you can, because you can do that with a rehab. I can't do that because I'm not in the boardroom of one of those stocks to have any type of, input to say, well, I really think you guys ought to, I can sit there and run a rehab and know what I'm getting in, what I'm getting out. I can hold a rental, know what I'm getting in, know what I'm getting out. Okay. So that's,
Gail, one other advantage of real estate, unlike stocks, it's not impossible, but it's extremely unlikely that your investment will go to zero. Whereas
exactly.
For a stock, it can easily do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Thanks, Phil. Thank you for that reminder. So I'll sleep good tonight. No, I've diversified a lot, especially, not to, talk about different investments, but that's what we need to do is actually, based on your business models and what you guys want to do. I said, I have some in stocks just because, my husband had it for when I got married to him and we never changed it really. But I'm more comfortable in the real estate arena for sure. Now going on with, do you have the patience of a saint? Because if you don't, you're not going to be a really good real estate agent. I can guarantee you. If you have, I can tell you stories about, hot cars, sticky kids, barking dogs. You got all that when you're a real estate agent. You've got to, now again, if you're a commercial real estate agent, it's all numbers, it's analysis, it's the data, it's no emotion. So you don't have to have that level of patience of a saint that a real estate agent would, right? So, are you comfortable cold calling people to drum up business? If you're not, hit the see a button, because every one of these, you're going to have to talk to people. You're going to have to network. You're going to have to, cold calling comes in different capacities. I'm sorry, I got to plug in my computer. Cold calling comes in different capacities. Sometimes people think, oh, I've got to buy a list and I've got to call all these people. Cold calling could be going to, once based on what's going on in your state, going to a networking event, okay? Going to, anything, an open house with another agent to go talk to them and see what's going on, and just networking. Like I said, there's a lot of business out there. Do not be fearful of not having business. It is there. So you're going to have to, and every one of these professions, I mean, I don't know anywhere where you can sit there and work in a vacuum of space and not have the opportunity to go talk to people and be successful. So, and then don't forget to download your 20 questions, because these are just a snippet of the ones we have. So going on. Don't be that person that is talked to. Let me grab this here. I'm going to try to grab something up. Okay. Didn't work. Your cousin's brother's sister's mother's father who tried exactly what you were going to do and it did not work for them. So why in the world would you think it's going to work for you? Same reason that they didn't get a tide chart. Because you don't always have to sit there and park your RV or your travel trailer where the tide's going to come in and take it out to sea. Well, just because it didn't work for them doesn't mean, just because it doesn't work for somebody else, don't be disappointed. Don't sit there and think that your destiny is provided, that, it's not. Trying something, don't be that person also that tries something that leads to riches overnight, because there's nothing. If you do find something, and it's legitimate and it's legal, give me a call because I would like to know how you got rich overnight without having to really do anything. Okay. Someone tells you can get rich overnight on this business, you are say, have a good day. Okay. And don't be that person that believes they'll be successful because everyone else doing this is successful. You know, it doesn't go off on osmosis and, just migrates over to you and you're successful. Generally, people that are successful hang out with those that are successful. But hanging out with those successful people will never guarantee that you're going to be successful yourself. I think we can all attest to that. But you choose to hang out with those that have the same interests and you can learn from and they can learn from you, okay? I am never the smartest person in the room, and I don't want to be. And I bring people on my team that can complement what I don't like to, like, oh man, I am awful at social media and doing all that stuff. So I outsource it. So you outsource, I don't outsource all of my social media. I don't want to say it like that there's no interaction. There is a lot, believe me. But there's certain things that you have to, so that you could go on to those things that you love and continue that passion and that excitement. And I'm going to also try to help you save some time, money, and frustration. Because a lot of folks will chase after that shiny new shiny squirrel, or that newest and greatest shiny squirrel syndrome. We've all heard it. So shiny squirrel syndrome, I put together a couple of things and came up with that one. That's a Gailism. Because it's like, oh, I want that one. Oh, that looks good and stuff like that. Focus for a while to see what you like and see what you look at and what, excel at. For example, seller finance notes and seller financing. I love it. I've been doing it for years and years, decades. We used to have to do that back in the day when interest rates are going all weird. So I got to where I became somewhat of an expert at it. So don't chase everything that comes down the pike, because otherwise you'll never get started in anything. And please, if it doesn't interest you, like right now, I don't want to be a CCIM. So why would I have to go pay for training to become a CCIM? It doesn't interest me at this phase of my life. So please, don't go after everything. And please don't have someone convince you their career or their investment strategy is the best way, because it may be, or it may not be, but it has to be your decision. And I'll say this over and over again. If it doesn't resonate with you, don't chase it. If it doesn't feel right, or if something's weird, you don't like it or whatever, don't chase it. It's okay. There's going to be other things. So you can be that person that's excited about your chosen profession. Now you can be, back in the day, especially with, retiring from government, you could trade your 40-hour week for 40 years to earn 40% of your salary. Okay. And that's the way it used to be all the time. But as you know, that's not so common anymore. If you're not with a big corporation or anything like that, the likelihood of having any type of pension is going to be probably, difficult to achieve. And then a lot of folks, unfortunately, think the Social Security supplemental insurance is a way to support themselves. And when they get retirement age, are shocked to find out that it's not. it's meant as supplemental insurance. And you have to be aware of that so that you can plan ahead. That's why folks getting into real estate at whatever age, can do very well. And so now you trade all that and you're willing to work 100 hours a week with no guarantee of income or excess in order to build your business. It's a tough order. You have to have the mindset you're willing to do it. Okay. That doesn't mean you're going to do it. One week you may have to work this many hours, but you have to be willing to have a trade-off to accept, okay, whether I do this while I can keep my regular day job, or I do this as supplemental, or I just put myself all into it, I have to be willing to put what effort is in. So I jokingly add this to my presentations because I want you to think, are you willing to work 100 hours a week with no guarantee of income or success in order to build your business? And if you are, you're ready to rock and roll. If you're not, then you have to think about what would you be willing to work. And if it's less, okay, but you'll know. At least start somewhere. But the main things and the biggest mind switch for a lot of people that go, especially from government work to working on your business instead of in your business. I don't want to be a slave to my business, and I'm not a slave to my business, because if you work on it, the goal is to keep getting yourself out of a job so that you can pass it on to someone else so that you can work on something else. That's the best way to get out of being an entrepreneur into actually the next level, which is, what I think a lot of us want to achieve.
Gail, can I make a comment or ask a question?
Of course.
So that last sentence on your last one, it said, be willing to work on your business and not in your business.
Yes.
And I think this is really a time to talk about this a little bit, because it's time, about this time last year, we met at one of our mastermind meetings, and we were, maybe a couple years ago, we were doing
a couple years ago
SWOT analysis. And that was super helpful for, that could be a whole nother presentation, like really like learning how, and Phil, you were telling me about this in my own business long before I even knew what it was, but, identifying what your strengths are, your weaknesses, your assets. Is that what it is?
Opportunities.
Opportunities.
Yep.
And threats. Yeah.
Right.
Opportunities and threats. And so as you start looking forward into 2021, every one of us should be working on our business in the sense that we are looking at it from strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threats. And I think that would be a great mentoring call, I think, coming up in the next month.
I absolutely agree, because it is, because, this year has been tough on everybody. Mm-hmm. I mean, in so many ways, and so many people have had just incredible. I mean, there are a lot of words to describe how 2020 has been for everybody. I think we can all agree. Mm-hmm. And what I always have to do, because I've had to unfortunately overcome a lot of adversity, is think about it this way. There's a reason that your rear view mirror is really small and your windshield is really, really big. So I can sit there and go and look it all back over my shoulder all day long. And I don't want to be that person either, because that's not going to do me or anything any good. Now, a backstory, because Michigan doesn't know me very well yet, but I was in Central Florida since 1983. And a friend of mine told me that there was a very big need for housing in an area that he had lived in for many, many years. And he was in the Air Force. He retired from the Air Force and became a civil servant. And I met him when I was doing air shows with NASA. They flew me up to Tyndall Air Force Base. Well, that's where I am. Hurricane Michael ravaged this area. I mean, every day I see stuff and I'm like, wow. And we talk to people. And if you've ever thought what it would be like to have your entire life and your whole life belongings literally get blown out from underneath you in a matter of hours, that's what most of my neighbors have had happen. And if you don't know what gratitude is, appreciation, also, unless it's like a wind of about 100 miles an hour and 30 inches of rain are expected, you're not going to get anybody's attention around here. It blew me away when that happened. But everybody cares. And that's what everybody has to now realize is going forward, what's that going to look like? So we've revamped our entire business model. I used to have buy and holds and notes, and now we're specifically looking at doing an entire another model, which I don't mean to change, digress on that, but the main thing about knowing who you need to be is semper gumby. You need to be very flexible right now. You need to be able to look and understand that there is a whole lot of need out there, whether it's in the area that I'm in, whether it's in your area, or whether it's in any of our, the folks that are listening tonight's area. There's a need for something, and it's, related to housing. Okay, in this particular area, people are still living in mobile homes. I mean, trailers like that one I just showed you in the water there. And they've been there for 2 years. Hurricane Michael happened 2 years ago last month. So we decided to fill a need to help. Okay. And we're working on our business, but we're helping others too. And it's super cool because we have a lot of support and encouragement. So I'm sorry, I went way off.
That's great. No, Gail, it's exactly it. You know, this affordable housing is sort of the back mission for both Phil, you and Phil and I, we realize that there's people who, even though interest rates are really low right now, they're not always going to be low, but even if you could go, some people can't even go to the bank and get a loan.
Very true. And that's one of the reasons I'm thinking that seller finances is going to fill that niche, because you're going to find, and again, I swear, I tried again to look for that fuzzy crystal ball on Amazon, and it so was not there.
Not there.
Back ordered. But I was trying to, look at what's going to actually happen with all that. And I think that conventional is going to go to a point where they're going to want like 29% down. It's going to be like and it's going to price people out. Now, one of the things that was discovered in a study, and I'm a little tired tonight, so forgive me, I can't remember what the study was, but it basically said those that are in home ownership versus those that rent are able to build their wealth over time much higher, their net wealth, their net income.
I think it was at the Note Expo. We were at the Note Expo this weekend, and someone said it. Someone said that.
Yes. So we kind of tweaked our model because I was looking at affordable housing. Now, when you say affordable housing, that puts a lot of different things in people's mind. Some of it's Section 8, some of it's like mobile homes, whatever it is. We have decided to even tweak. Again, remember, see how you tweak all the time? You're always looking at figuring out, what can I do better? What can I change? What can I make? We're going for affordable home ownership. Okay.
Home ownership.
That is a great point of view. I'm going to have to use it. We're going to have to use that ourselves.
Yes.
Because it summarizes where we're going.
Yes. Because we all want to help people. Another thing I talk about, excuse me. We have another tropical storm coming, and it's stirred up the atmosphere. So if you hear me kind of, my sinuses are bothering me a little bit. Forgive me for that. But the idea behind affordable home ownership, whatever that looks like. Now, we came here, in August to look at the area, and we're like, okay, fastest, effective way, mobile homes. Okay. Except there is a back order of 4 to 6 months for mobile homes right now in this area. So that ain't happening. So now then we had to go a little bit further. And then I said, okay, affordable home ownership, what does that look like? Because I have been totally blessed with the ability to take down properties and put a note on it and sell it to somebody. Now with Dodd-Frank and all that other good stuff that we have to comply with and everything, we make sure they're all compliant. We make sure that it's all underwritten correctly and everything. And it achieves giving somebody a safe, comfortable place to live. Okay. So it's very, very, it's exciting stuff. It's exciting times. People, it depends on whether you go into it. And I found, like, especially working with polychlorohorribles and methyl ethyl death my whole life, most of my adult life, education is key. If you know what you're up against and you've got that knowledge, you can handle just about anything, any risk. We used to work all the time. Like, you got a big explosion going on underneath somebody, and, you got to get them up. Okay. There's a lot of things that have to fall into place, but you have to make sure that you know and understand calculated risk. And we worked in that world for lots of years. So as long as you've done that and you've determined what would be your best approach for your business model and what would be the best way to go forward, and it looks good, but you try it, doesn't look, tweak. Okay, no harm, no foul. Oh, getting back to this picture. I love this picture. Okay, I got to digress for a second. So all the National Civil Servants got a letter that said, hey, you guys go out to the vehicle assembly building parking lot, and we're going to make this orbiter and take a picture. And we're like, oh yeah, we're gonna all do that. Okay, that's great. Well, so many people showed up that you see the shape of the orbiter. Now it's laying as if the parking lot is the external tank. So left wing, right wing, see how it goes? Well, all these other people showed up. So now we had to try to pretend like we could make this circle without exactly knowing where it started or finished. So we did a pretty good job, okay? So then, again, bunch of rocket scientists. Now, I have to say this, personality. You're looking at everybody from clerks, librarians, engineers, our launch director, I'm sure, is in there somewhere. All kind of personalities had to work together to make that program successful, and we did. Now, here's where it gets kind of cute. And that's why I want to talk about this picture for a second. So I'm going to be real smart. I'm going to wear my red NASA shirt. If you look at that picture closely, you could see almost every person in there is wearing a red shirt because they wanted to make sure they could be seen in that. Now, I'm the one in the left wing, kind of in the front, you know, wearing jeans and my red shirt. And then you can see the ones that showed up in the back of the left top hand corner of the circle. They're all wearing red shirts, so they all sat together. It's so hysterical. I was in a field of red shirts and we looked at each other and go, even though we have different personalities and jobs and characteristics, we all kind of had a group think for success. Now, group think can be good, but it can also be bad. So you have to kind of keep that in mind. Again, personalities. So what I'm talking about tonight is not rocket scientists, or not rocket science. And I can legitimately say that. So, but just think about these things. Have you ever worked at a job that you loved, or you've known somebody that worked at a job that they hated? Or have you ever known someone that really enjoys what they do? Like all those folks in that parking lot. By the way, shuttle program ended in July. It was hot out there. And we were willing to do it because we knew what we loved and enjoyed, and we had careers. So whatever it took, whether it was like bad or not. So now going further, when you look at it and you say, okay, I want to try this real estate career for a while. Is that decision cut in stone? Absolutely not. You can do one or two or more of these careers. Now, whether you drill down and really get like subject matter expert, and, you know, really get into the expertise of what it needs to be, you can do how much or how little you want in this profession. That's what's so beautiful. Like I started out as an agent, then I started getting into investing. Well, actually, I started as an investor and then got into an agent and then still invested. See, there's all these opportunities. And you can switch, but at least you'll know what the profession's like before you got started. The main thing is getting started. You know, we are like 6 weeks away from New Year's Eve, folks.
Wow.
Yeah, sorry. Can you believe that? So now's the time to start like drilling down, get your goals in place. And I know it's kind of like, no. Okay. Now, again, you can do more than one type. You can start with one, learn others, expand your horizons, invest in rentals, for example, or renovations or notes, or do rentals and then put a note on it. See, there's so many different things you can do. And you can work as a real estate agent, like I said, and be an investor. I was. There's benefits to being an agent. So if anybody would like to actually talk to me, you know, I'll give you my contact information at the end about the pros and cons of being an agent. Okay. If you aren't an agent and you don't want to be an agent, because you don't need to be an agent to be successful as, say, a note investor, at least know an agent. Mel and Phil have me on speed dial, and they call me all the time, and it's great because, again, that networking, that interaction, we always do it, and it's exciting. But to be successful, you're going to have an agent, either you or somebody you know, that is able to work in the profession. Like if you're work holding rentals, you need to have a property manager. If you do buy and holds and fix and flips, you need to have someone that can help you get those sold.
Right.
So here's the top 5. Excuse me, sorry again. Real estate agent, buy and hold investor, wholesaler, rehabber. I'm not excited about the fix and flipper name. That's kind of weird. That's just, again, according to Gail, and then real estate known investors. Now remember, everybody can succeed. There's no psychology here, but remember, your personality type is kind of important to keep in mind. And also, again, the concepts that I present are not cut in stone, and they're not intended to be a self-fulfilled prophecy by any stretch of the imagination. I just wanted to come on tonight to encourage you to think about what you want to have for your 2021. And these are the opportunities that I present for thought here. And it all just comes down to a matter of what interests you the most. That's what it's all about. So who fits with what personality? It's a loaded question, because anyone and everyone, because there's no specific answers, because it's going to resonate differently for everybody. And again, I encourage you to look at my quiz that I'll make available to you, and just sort of start exploring these careers. But remember, the main goal, and I love goals, is to go ahead and get started. Okay? So think about these characteristics, and just clear your mind for a minute and think about these. A deep desire to help people with their housing needs. Friendly, knowledgeable, outgoing, analytical, attention to detail, loves to network and learn from others. That's every career I just told you about. Right there. Because deep down, you have to have a desire to help people with their housing needs. If you're going in there and making ugly houses pretty again, if you're going any aspect of it, you're helping people with their housing needs if you're dealing in real estate. Whether it's notes, whether you've taken back a note and now it's turned into an REO because you've had to take it back to the court system or whatever, you are always looking at a way to provide the end product to someone. Okay, whether it's a buy and hold, all of them. You can think about that. As a real estate agent, you have this deep down desire. All of them do. You have to be friendly. People do business with those that they know, like, and trust. Analytical, you're going to have to look at numbers. Now, as an agent, if you don't like doing math, it's no big deal. I mean, you can sit there and ask a title company to do your HUD ones and things like that, but you have to be able to talk to someone somewhat to be able to. So how far you deep down and drill into being analytical and left brain and everything on them, doesn't matter. Attention to detail in every single one. If you let something go through, and the whole goal when you take down a property is to get it to closing. Okay? If you let one little misstep or one little missed deadline or a piece of paper, it could just make everything go bad and left on you, and just, it's gone. All that hard work. So always make sure that you have some kind of system in place to keep track of your deadlines and everything, no matter what career you choose. And you've got to love to network with others. Now, I have the honor through technology, and we've been using this since, we've all kind of had this thing going on since March. We have been able to network and go to Zoom meetings and talk to people and talk to clients far more than if we could do teletransmitter things to bring somebody like they used to do back in Star Trek. You're able to go. I'm going from Michigan to Florida to wherever I need to go because of the opportunities. See, you always have to look for those opportunities and use them to the best you can. So we're still networking, even though a lot of us are in lockdown. We're still getting out there, and it's so cool to be able to do that. So never stop networking. And we want to save you time, because if you knew right ahead of the whole game where you really would like to be, you'd save a lot of time, money, effort. It's mostly time. If I knew now how cool real estate notes are, and I hate to keep harping on that, I probably would have got into it 30 years ago. In fact, when I was talking to my uncle, who's still at 94, works for Berkshire Hathaway out in San Francisco, I was telling him about, hey, uncle, have you ever heard of this thing about notes? Because I was starting to getting into notes more. And he goes, yeah, we used to hold notes on our commissions all the time because California is pretty high. I said, why didn't you tell me about it? He goes, why didn't you ask? Because see, if you don't ask, you don't know. And then when I said, did you ever have any problems? He goes, no, because everybody appreciated what we were doing. You just knew you weren't going home with a commission check that night. It's like, dang. So it's always thinking, but you got to have a friendly, outgoing personality to, you know, people want to work with you if you know, like, and trust you. An analytical mind, service-oriented mindset for sure. For sure. If you don't have a service-oriented mindset, excuse me, you know, why are you in the business? If it's to make money, you're going to make money. But if that's your whole sole purpose, it's going to be a pretty quiet life for you. But that's just according to me. So getting down to the psychological part of it again, I'm not a psychologist, but why do people succeed? I mean, have you ever thought about why does this person succeed and this person doesn't? Primarily, if you drill down into it, is because that other person never gave up and they saw opportunities instead of obstacles. It's like I said, we had the opportunity to come up here and what I had in mind didn't fit. So instead of seeing an obstacle of, well, what, 4 to 6 months, that's going to mess us up. We looked at other opportunities. We didn't look at it as an obstacle. We looked at it as a challenge. Okay, if that's not going to work, then what will? If then, tell me, tell me how. You know, that's what we used to ask ourselves all the time in NASA. Tell me how. If this happened, tell me how we can overcome it. Okay, find a need and fill it. Very easy. And if you don't fail, you can't succeed. You know, Thomas Edison didn't make that light bulb in one try. Okay, you have to try, and don't be afraid of failure. Okay, nobody likes to fail. I mean, I'm not saying go out there and fail, but I am saying don't be afraid. I mean, what's the worst thing that could happen? The earth opens up and sucks you in? No. So don't be afraid of it. Some reasons they fail. The passion's not there. Their desire is not theirs. And they gave up 3 feet from gold. If you haven't read that book from Sharon Lechter, grab it. You can't give up too soon. If you give up and you're 3 feet from gold, you'll never know, but you got to try. So I like this picture too, because it reminds you, you can change your future and you can control your destiny and you control your pursuits, and we control our time and we control our days, our weeks, and our months. We control a lot in our lives every day. Don't think about other things you can't control, but certainly think about the ones you can. And I think about this every day. What's going to be between my dash? From the time I was born till the time I die, what's that going to look like? And we have to think about that every day too, not only our professions, but our personal lives and how we want to align ourselves and everything else. But, you know, let's see. So are you guys ready to begin? Know your passion, know your fit, and specifically and most important, know your why. If you know those, you guys are going to be rock stars. So, this is hard for me to read it here because the way everybody's sitting here. I'm trying to think. Sorry. But y'all can see that. And I'll give you a minute to think about it and reflect on it. But the main thing, that last line, we must sail and not drift, nor lie at anchor. So I ask each and every one of you tonight, where are you going to be? Because if you can't sail, you can't drift. Or not to drift. You don't want to drift. You want to flounder. You don't want to get in those currents. And you don't want to lie at anchor either. So.
Thank you, Gail. I appreciate it. We are really grateful to have you on the Michigan Note Investor Forum meetup, virtual meetup. We wouldn't be able to have you if we were meeting live, so this is a real special treat to hear from you. I didn't get to share this in the beginning, but Gail is basically on my speed dial in a way. I can call her. Just this week, I asked her to look over a contract with me, and she picked up something I hadn't picked up, that those fine details. She coached me through a seller finance situation we were working on. I mean, it's just really, her wisdom has been amazing. She's also, because she's an EXP agent, she knows a lot of agents around the country. So when we needed someone in like a very rural part of Illinois, she was like, oh yeah, I have somebody. And so that person has become a super valuable part of our team. So Gail, thank you so much. It's been great to hear from you. It looks like you have your contact information here. Gail the Note Gal Villanueva. Email Gail at noteworthypro.com. and your website, www.gailthenotegal.com, and your phone number. Wow, very generous, Gail. Thank you.
That's actually my personal number. So if you call that, you know, you guys are going to get me directly, but I definitely want to thank you all. I have so much appreciation for the opportunity to share this with you all, and I hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you, Gail. If you could disable the share so I can go on to just the Latin to tell the rest of the group what we're going to be having planned for the next couple meetings.